Hello, I'm Jerry Van Dyke. Please make a donation to the Carnegie Council's annual fund. It will directly support programs such as the video you're about to watch. These are very challenging times. Please keep the voices for ethics alive. Go to carnegiecouncil.org. Thank you.
Basically, geography explains why the West rules. So, okay, that's the core thesis of the book. The implication of this thesis, I suggest, is the shift from west to east in power and wealth going into the 21st century. This is a very deep, very profound phenomenon. This is not something that you fix by fiddling with the exchange rates or banning Chinese tires or anything like that. This is a very profound movement. And thinking you can fix it by changing the exchange rate, this is a bit like thinking you can stop the spread of farming by picking mushrooms or something. It's not going to happen. Now obviously, you could look at that and say, well, this is another declinist theory. This is very much in the mold of Kennedy's Rise and Fall of the Great Powers. And, well, to some extent, yes, it is. But I think also there's other sides to this as well, that when you look back across history at these great shifts in wealth and power, these are things that people do have the capacity to manage what is happening. It may not be possible for the actions of individuals to really change the great geographical forces, but they certainly can be managed and shaped. I mean, one of the things that I sometimes find a bit alarming is when you look at contemporary American writings on the changes in the distribution of power around the world now, they are so uncannily similar to what a lot of Europeans were writing 100 years ago. And of course, in the European case, they're all hand-wringing about the shift in power from Britain and France to America. And they'll say, oh, man, it's terrible, terrible, what can we do? And if you just substitute America and China, you get really remarkably similar kinds of things. Now, a lot of the British fears of 100 years ago about what was going to happen in the 20th century, a lot of them came true. But Europeans now typically live more than 30 years longer than they did 100 years ago, earn in real times 5 times as much as they did 100 years ago. The relative decline in wealth and power of Western Europe in the 20th century was a very good thing for Western Europe in many, many ways. Because the other side of that is the European anxieties about this I think had a lot to do with the outbreak of the World Wars. And German attempts to unite the continent as a way to resist the shift in power away from Europe. These, I think, were at least partially driven by wild reactions to the shifts in power around the world. And this, I think, is a very obvious thing about what we're confronting at the moment. People have to understand the lessons of history and think very carefully about how you respond to these sorts of challenges.